What's going on, you guys? Welcome on back to the channel. Now, as I'm sure you're all very well aware, My Hero just dropped the big Bakugo episode for this season. And man, let me tell you, this is hands down the best episode of My Hero they've put out probably since Sports Festival with Deku vs Todoroki and maybe the first half of season 3 of My Hero. That's how good this episode was, man. From the animation to the OST choices to the voice acting from Bakugo and pretty much everyone on display here. Pretty much everything that went on in this episode elevated the material to a whole new level that I was not expecting at all. I did not expect Bones to cook like this. I genuinely didn't expect it at all. But at even though they cooked and they cooked wonderfully with this episode, I can't help but feel angry at the same time because while this episode was so good, the stuff that happens immediately after is some of the worst content to come from My Hero Academia. Like, it's going to be rapid fire, at least for me. But before we get into the negative, let's talk about the good things that I liked from this episode. And there are a lot of good things. First of all, everything with Mirio and Tamaki, bro, I was not expecting that at all. That kind of felt like, at least to me, when I was reading the manga, I didn't really care about that too much, right? It's Tamaki. Like, it felt like we'd been through this already with him before, but in the anime, they really made you feel it because they put in stuff with Nejire with it to compact it together, and they really helped make you feel like, oh yeah, this is the big three of the school. Like, because in the manga, I sometimes didn't feel like it. Sometimes didn't feel like that, especially in that fight. At least for me, it didn't. It never really felt like they were a big three. It kind of felt like they were just students working together. In this episode, you could feel that these three students were the big three, and that they needed to pull their weight in order to like make sure Bakugo didn't die right then and there. Like without them, like this fight would have gone sideways even quicker. But yeah, and then bro, Tamaki's final attack, bro. The it was just so it was so well animated. I wasn't expecting it at all. Like, oh my god, it was just so good at the end of the day. Like everything with the big three, like they really finally, at least to me, they finally lived up to their name and they finally showed why they're the big three of UA. Next, another moment that I really liked, and it was small. It was with Jeanist and Bakugo. And now Jeanist is pretty much at this point only seeing Bakugo as like another hero under his command, and kind of like at this point, like he sees him as a pro. So he's like, Dynamite, we need you, get up, we need your firepower. And then he just sees Bakugo crying, and then he realizes, oh wait, at the end of the day, this is still just a kid, and he's going through all of this and he's carrying this burden by himself. And then, bro, do you know what? Actually, there's one thing that I'm glad that they took out. I'm not sure if it was from this chapter or maybe it was from a future chapter. I don't know. I might be getting my chapters mixed up. It's been a while since I read this stretch of My Hero, but I'm glad if they did take it out. I'm glad they took out the Mirio like putting his ass in Shigaraki's face. Actually, you know what? Never mind. That wasn't this chapter anyway. So I still have fear that they're gonna put that in, but we can just forget that part. We can just forget that part. Like the best stretch, at least for me, in the episode was like we see Bakugo get up, and as soon as Bakugo starts walking, the animation just kicks it up to a whole nother level. I don't know what they did. That walking animation when he first gets up and you just see his feet and he's walking. I don't know what they did there. I don't know who animated that, but whoever animated that, bro, You need to put your name up like in the rafters. I loved that shit. That shit was fire. That shit looked so good. And then when Bakugo like starts is being able to read Shigaraki's movements because he's basically been studying him the entire fight. So you're able to see Bakugo like trace him in real time and Bakugo using his quirk in a whole new way to like dodge and everything like that. And then bro, like the OST that they had for Bakugo, bro, it sounded like a mix of like an orchestral thing and You Say Run. Like I can't remember the last time we had You Say Run used in the anime. It feels like it's been a while. I don't know, but bro, with that OST accompanying it, and then we see the moment that Bakugo sees All Might's vestige as he's charging up his final attack against Shigaraki. We see him like talk to All Might, and you see him being like, "Hey, I know I was a brat before, but I always wanted your autograph." In the manga, I don't know. At least for me, it didn't hit. In the anime, you were able to feel it. I felt exactly what Horikoshi I think was trying to convey back then in the manga, because while I don't like this stretch of the manga, I understand what Horikoshi was attempting to do here now. Like, I get it now. I understand it a lot more now. And like when you see him be like, "I just wanted to get your autograph," and you can hear his heartbeat still while he's talking to All Might, dog, it just hit. It hit. Like, and then like you see his heartbeat go out when he gets hit by Shigaraki. Bro, masterfully adapted. Masterfully adapted. Now, to get into the things that I didn't like. All right. So, while this chapter was masterfully adapted from the anime, the main thing that I can't get over is everything that happens after this. Because as good as this episode was, it reminded me what happens next. And what happens next is some of the worst shit that I have ever seen in manga. Like, I'm pretty sure next episode it's gonna happen where we see Edshot being like, "Hey, Jeanist, I'm gonna kill myself and be essentially Bakugo's new heart." I hated that because I feel like it takes away from the sacrifice at the end of the day. The whole reason I loved that like twist in the manga was not because Bakugo died or anything like that. I liked Bakugo. I liked it because it felt like we had stakes again. Like we hadn't really seen anyone important die since Night Eye, and it really gave you like at least to me, when that chapter dropped, it felt like, whoa, we just lost Bakugo, right? One of the biggest hitters in Class 1A. How are we going to come out of this? How is Deku going to react? How is everyone in Class 1A going to react now that Bakugo is gone, right? I loved that aspect because it for the first time for me, it created a sense of urgency in the story. It created a sense of dread, a sense of tension. Now, immediately next episode, it's going to be ripped away. Like, it's going to be just ripped away because we're going to see Edshot wanting to revive him, start stitching him up, and then you're going to have the dreaded bubble soon enough, which don't even get me started on that bubble. Like, that shit is so bad. Oh, man. Like, it just hurts more because of how perfectly adapted this episode was. Like, as I was watching it, like the more peak shit that was going on in the episode, the more upset I got because I knew what was happening next as a manga reader. I knew exactly what was going to happen next episode, and that pain still hasn't gone away, at least for me. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. What'd you guys think of this episode? Did you guys think it was as perfectly adapted as I think it was? And do you also think that the stuff that's going to happen next is, at least to me, pretty bad? Let me know what you guys think. like, comment, subscribe, and as always, I'm going to talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.